I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this off so it's easier for me to roll and peel. Help if I wasn't using the shears upside down. On today's episode of the Chambler build series, I'm going to go ahead and pop all those rivet heads and stems out. There's about 585 of them from all that flashing you used to join the two bodies together. And I'm going to show you my method for removing spot welded sheet metal patches and panels when you don't have an air hammer, which I don't at the moment. This worked pretty well. My friend Lauren is going to stop by. I'm going to show her how to drill out rivet heads. Fun stuff like that. Getting down to the last couple episodes of where I'll be peeling all the junk off. I'm still evaluating, still trying to figure out I want to make this the best car I can, and that means as I find a bad spot, I have to reevaluate my plans. It's the best thing you can do in a project like this when you're kind of coming at it from an unknown area. Thanks for watching. Let's get to it. I'm going to start in the driver's side rear interior compartment area on the rocker and try to knock as many of these rivet heads out as possible and clean up some of that rust, kind of figure out where I'm at before I start grinding and cutting. When I laid all those parts out for you guys to see as kind of a visual representation of what was inside this car, I counted and I have about 585 or so rivet heads to knock out. This is going to take forever. Oh, hey, that worked. This really is going to take forever. So now I have to do what I just did 581 more times. Yay. So now that all the rivet bodies are knocked out, I'm going to go around with a wire wheel and try to get at least as much of the surface as I can off before I come back in and try to grind this down and figure out what kind of material I actually have to deal with. I'm not yet at the part where I'm going to start trimming this body and resizing everything, but I do need to cut this little chunk off so I can get access to here and grind everything smooth. I'm going to come in and trim some of this extra edging down, and then I'll grind some of it back. I'm going to be careful with what I do down here. I don't want to damage the pinch welds, and I'll take off as much of this as I can. I'm not going to remove these until I have a little bit more of the structure cleaned up. I do want a tiny bit of structure left in the vehicle. I don't want to die. I know it's crazy, but you know, I'm on borrowed time as it is, so I don't want to die. Well, let's see how well this thing knocks off spot welded panels. Going to keep doing this along this panel. I'll get as much of it as I can off, then I'll grind any of the spot welds that are left smooth. Now you know what the next hour and a half of my life is going to be like. I'll come back when it's time to grind everything down. Got all those junky spot welded panels removed. Now I'm going to grind all the spot weld heads off. That looks a million times better. There's a couple spots I'm not going to be able to hit with the grinding setup that I have, so I'm going to have to get some roll lock discs and get my air tools back out, but that is a hell of a good start. Got an awesome delivery today. I've been looking for cab corners for the Comanche basically since I bought it, and I finally found some, which is awesome. Now let's make the front driver's side rocker look as good as the rear driver's side rocker. There's a series of screws that I believe was probably for the trim over the door edge, so I'll try to pull those, and then I will start grinding it, sanding it, yada, yada, yada. File these appropriately.
Not sure if drywall screws are original AMC equipment, but who knows at this point.
I'm about halfway through, and there's definitely a lot more rust and rot in this front rocker section on the driver's area. I'm definitely going to have to replace some of these parts. We'll see how it goes. I'll know more when I get towards the end here. I've got this basically to where I think I need it to be for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and hit the passenger side as well. I've got to go and get some more flap discs because I basically used that one up that I have. This thing is looking a ton better. I'll pull those cross beams, like I said, once I get this area all worked out and cleaned up. I'm going to keep working on the inside to get all that loose sheet metal and spot rivets out. My friend Lauren, you can't find her because she's where it's wallowing. She was in the Parade of Lights video. She did most of the decoration. She's going to be knocking all the rivet heads and stems out that she can in the back. So there's like 540 of them left because I did about 45 of them. So she'll be back here making faces and noises. So, and safety glasses, you know. Not that she wants to wear them, but she's wearing them. So let's do it. I'm going to show Lauren how to drill the head of a rivet off. So basically you just want to line it up in the center. And then you're only drilling the head off. You're not drilling the body out. You're good. Speed's fine. You're good. Head's off.
Handy.
So, yep. Let's pop the stem down and out. So that should be the only one. Although, who knows how many I might have actually forgotten or missed because that wasn't holding a panel down. So, back to work. As my friend Lauren's in the trunk pulling the rivet stems out, I'm going to continue up in the front. Now I'm going to move to the passenger side floorboards and start on the rockers. She hopefully didn't just hurt herself. I'm not paying your deductible.
That's fine. It was just my delegate.
Okay. Well, there's nothing to hurt there. This passenger side is in much worse shape than the driver's side. There's also some holes in the rocker, which I'll have to address. But this metal is fighting me a heck of a lot more. Well, Lauren has somehow got herself stuck there because she tried to go too far in.
I got it. Don't worry, I'm good.
Uh-huh.
I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes when you can't get professional help, you just get what help you can, and good friends are good friends, whether they hang themselves up in place or not. Do you want help getting out of there?
I got it. I got it.
Okay. Success. Unfortunately, I do believe I'm going to have to replace, if not all of it, at least a very large portion of this chunk of rocker because it is not in good shape. So I'm going to move on to the back passenger area. I'm going to go ahead and cut this chunk of Cherokee flooring out because I need access to get to the rocker panel for the Rambler. I'll knock all the rivet heads and stems out. Then I will come back and show you how I'm knocking all these pieces of spot welded material on because I think I have a better method, or at least I'm getting better at it. Basically what I'm trying to do to pull these spot welded pieces off is I'm trying to bend it up so I have access to it. Then I'll slide the little spring punch in there, pop it free gently, and then come back in with the bigger drift punch and push it through, break it up, slice it in half, and then slowly peel it off. So we'll go through that now. I'm using a spring punch just to kind of wedge myself in there and give myself a big enough area to get the bigger punch in and slowly push it out. I found that this larger punch tends to not try to push itself into the sheet metal. It tends to want to push the sheet metal pieces apart. The smaller punch wants to dig in and cut through the existing sheet metal, so I'm using the bigger punch. I don't know if you'll find the same results, but I would give it a try.
That force just broke the spot weld right here off. I'm going to try to roll this around, and a lot of times using that method, using this as a lever, will actually pull the spot welds off. I'll just leave a little spot left over. We just knocked the next spot weld down and peel this off. It's not perfect, but it's been working pretty consistently. An air hammer would definitely work better, but right now I'm trying to conserve my costs because I've got a lot of other things I'm putting money out for this car. Sheet metal, yada, yada, yada. I'll tend to have small pieces break off, so I'll go ahead and pop them free. Sorry, I'll go ahead and pop them away from the main part of the body. Normally pop free. You want to be careful. If you start seeing a lot of bending in the metal, it's either weak or you're in a weaker spot. You don't want to do this if it's going to destroy the car. Like I said, I'm going to have to replace a lot of this anyway, so at this point, just get it the hell out of my way. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this off so it's easier for me to roll and peel. It'd help if I wasn't using the shears upside down. I'm using the punch to come at it in a couple different directions to try to peel enough material up to get the larger punch in here. I'm going to keep going down the line. I'll come back when I'm done. The rear passenger door rocker area is all cleaned up, looking pretty darn good. Like I said, the passenger front rocker area is pretty much a mess. I think I'm going to have to cut most of it out and rebuild it. And I can't get much of that underbody coating or whatever, the seam seal or whatever that old stuff is. It just gums up the flap disc pretty darn quick. Just going to knock a couple more rivet heads out and call it a night. I have the rockers as far as I can go at the moment until I get some more materials and figure out the strategy for sorting the body when I cut those braces off. So I'm going to go ahead and move into the wheel wells to the rear area. They're kind of sketchy. I want to try to square up and straighten out as much of the stuff that I can. Figure out what I have to cut off, because I'm probably going to have to cut a lot of it off and try to make new pieces. I'm likely to cut from the rust area down on the inner wheel tubs. I've got new sheet metal coming. I should be able to form it, shape it. I've got cardboard, so I can do some cardboard aided design or CAD and make some new pieces. I've got a friend that should be able to help me cut some of the larger, more complicated shapes on this plasma table, which would be awesome. This support that you likely can barely see is pretty well damaged, and he has it riveted in place, but it's a stock support, so I'm wondering how much of that is it broke free when the body moved. I do need to put some sort of bracing in here because this was a big structural tie-in point right behind where the rear seat would go. I'm going to bend as much of the passenger side wheel well out just like I did with this driver's side, and then I'll move back and try to get some of this stuff back here that's kind of sketched over fest. Like this, where he just folded the Cherokee sheet metal under the Rambler sheet metal in a hump. And I want to give the benefit of the doubt, but holy, these do make a nice sound though. Oh, and I found this junk under the rear package tray, so I'm gonna have to scrape that off and get it out, because I don't need that. I don't need it to hold whatever yuck it's holding. I'm gonna pull the bottom of this inner fender out on the passenger side. I'm gonna move this piece first, which is Cherokee sheet metal, and do what I can in this area before I get into cutting everything later. I'm just gonna bend this stuff out of the way for right now, because I'm likely gonna have to trim a lot of this off, but we'll see where it goes later. This is all rusty and fatigued. I'll probably have to come in here, pick a height, and slice. That's unfortunate. Depending on how all this shapes out with what I have to cut and what I don't, I'll peel some of this back and use the inner wheel well from the Cherokee and some of the other components. I'll probably build a shelf down. Once I get closer and get some of this trimmed out, I will get this to where I think it needs to be, and then I'll put the seats in here, at least for the back, and try to see where they're gonna fit, because I'll probably need to make some floor provisions for the seats, at least for the rear. The fronts are gonna be a whole other story. I'll probably have to build risers or something for that. Gives you a better idea of the area I was just at on the passenger side. This is looking in from the tire area. It's pretty well beat to hell. I realized when I was cleaning up back here and knocking those rivets out, it looks like this back fender area is 2/3 Bondo and some sort of patch material. So I'll try to get you in closer for. No, I'm not, again, I don't think that's something he did. I think that's something the previous owner did, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna knock that out or what. We'll have to see. I was able to pick up a couple things I need for the Chambler at C2C, which is classic to current. They're in Livonia. They're about a 40-minute drive for me. Big thing I got was this rear replacement floor section for a Cherokee. I think I'll be able to use that in a Rambler and see how it fits. Ooh, thought the camera fell. Sorry about the odd camera angle. I can't get you any different position. I just had one of my tripods break, so I'm down to tripod. It isn't going to do much, but it's better than nothing. It's definitely better than nothing that was there. Get you in here for a closer look. Yeah, the Cherokee's definitely a smaller vehicle than the Rambler body is. That'll help. It'll give me a strong floor in the back, which I need, and I'll be able to cut around some parts. I won't need the whole piece. I'm going to end up trimming it at the edge where the old Cherokee trunk latch and everything was. That'll give me a nice strong base to connect this to, and then I'll fit and plug in around as I need to for it. This is the very back of the Cherokee chassis. I'm going to notch this piece to fit into this area. Spot weld it down so I have a nice strong structure right here to connect the new stuff, old Cherokee, old Rambler. I was hoping I was going to be able to use that reinforced lip edge up towards the top side of the tire. It's not going to work out because he didn't cut them the same side to side. So I'm going to have to take it back to the body joint. I'm also going to have to remove this bucket, which was the original rear shackle bracket. It's going to come in contact with too much of the parts. I am going to have to rearrange the way this is mounted, change the length, and probably relocate everything. I knew I was going to have to do a lot, but I didn't expect to have to go quite this far. It's way beyond what I thought originally, and way beyond what I thought originally, and you get the point. I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. I've got a lot more deconstruction work. I get to fine-tune things with a needle scaler, which I'd never used before the next video. And I got to tell you, it made a heck of a difference. It made a lot of things a lot easier for me. Cut down a ton of time on removing material. Plus, it's fun to use and watch the stuff just pop off the body. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. Again, I really do appreciate everything. Hope to see as many of you as humanly possible at No Name Nationals. See you again soon. Thanks.